Drew, we had an event come up that was very, very exciting for myself. We were actually invited by EA and DICE to take a little preview look at the next season of Battlefield 2042. This is Season 7, Turning Point, and there's mainly 2 new maps that they're bringing to the table. There's a few new weapons, but we're going to touch on that. Starting off with the map, we were able to get in for, I believe, about 2 hours of gameplay, so we have a little bit of a limited look, but a preview nonetheless. This map is Haven. It's set in Chile, which is common out of some of the maps now. This is designed for 64 players, and it's a lot of a throwback to some of the older maps from Battlefield 3, perhaps. I saw a lot of people in the chat mentioning Kharkiv. So there's some of these older touches. It's not a reproduced map. It's not just copy-pasted out of one of the old games, but it does harken back to the Battlefield years that everybody, myself included, remembers very fondly. So I have to say my first initial look at that map was really kind of typical, what I would have expected. No real screwballs in there, but it was interesting. But before we get into really some of the details of it, what was your first impression? You're not exactly a Battlefield veteran.
No, I'm not the Battlefield guy whatsoever, right? That's we're fortunate to have you on the team to make sure that we are able to cover something like this when it comes to Battlefield. You are the guru on the team, without a doubt. So for me, jumping in, I'm like, I have always bounced in, but never stuck around. And then when 2042 dropped, we all jumped in and then went, we bounced out. Now we're on Season 7, and I keep coming back. I think that's the cool part, is I actually keep coming back, even though it's not really my kind of game. But at the same time, I'm having a good time when I am in on the game, because we're all hanging out and having a good time. You and I jumped in to check out Haven. Dude, like you say, right? We played this for 2 hours. 2 different game modes we played as well. While we were doing this, we played Conquest and then we played Rush. And as we're in on this and we're having what I felt like a good time. Dude, this is a solid map. I thought it looked great. It's very dusty looking, right? It like has that desert environment setting. It's got one central location which you try to capture in Conquest, and it was challenging because you're down low and everybody can go up on all these buildings and pick you off from above. So to kind of hunker down and then obtain that, and then you got all the choppers going above you, then you got the tanks coming in. Dude, I thought it was cool. I liked the feel of the map. I thought it flowed really well. I was able to get into my sniper zone a little bit and start picking off, but when you start getting into the middle of Haven, the sniper, not really the go-to. I actually switched up and went with assault or support in that sense, right? And kind of focused a little bit differently because it's a lot of tight quarters too. It was pretty cool. Some destructible elements, right? Not as much as I think I'd like to see, known from the Battlefield series. The franchise itself is known for some of these huge destructible environments. I felt like there's just like little pockets though that you could destroy versus the entire thing, right? So I'm up on one part, we're taking over one zone, and I'm on the roof, and I'm looking over. Dude, you can literally like see everything over top. I'm like, this is cool. All right, I'm down for this. So I'm up here, and all of a sudden from behind me, I can hear boom, and it blows out the corner of the building that I'm standing on. I was just like, oh, and it is that change in dynamic that all of a sudden goes, I felt safe, and I'm no longer safe. And it was very, very cool. I thought Haven was a nice addition. Stadium is the other map which we didn't get to play, which is unfortunate. I would have loved to have played that one as well. But getting into Haven alone, dude, I had a good time. It was a ton of fun. There's a lot of chaos, right? When you know Battlefield, if you're in on Battlefield, it is just go, go, go. But I like that there's always objectives to take care of. So if you're not the greatest shooter like myself, at least I can make my way to the objective to hopefully obtain that and help the team out. That was my first early impressions.
You can find a way to make yourself useful amongst the team, even if you're not the strongest shooter. That rush mode is quite a lot harder to do that, however. Being such a choke point. That didn't work out so well on Haven. In my opinion, it's definitely more of a conquest map, but you did mention the vehicles flying overhead. There is a new vehicle coming along with Season 7. However, we weren't able to see it, play it, or know much about it. Unfortunately, it wasn't part of this test. It wasn't part of this preview. There was, however, a very, very strong pilot in a helicopter raining destruction on us all day. And I think that's what highlighted. He may have been planted there on purpose, actually, to highlight some of the destructibility in the map, because that kind of, you have that confidence, you're providing Overwatch, and then the building now no longer exists. That dynamic flow of the map is exactly what everybody fell in love with in Battlefield way back in the day. So I'm really happy to see that return. There is a few little tweaks. There's new weapons as well, but my thoughts on the weapons are that they're not very game changing, would be my understanding. I'm not certain if I really saw them being used a lot in this playtest. It really seemed inconsequential next to the changes that have happened. There's some overall tweaks in the gunplay. So some of the recoil, the time to kill, and that some of the behavior, some of the different attachments and how you interact with those are just a little different. And it's a little bit newer, a little bit just to kind of spice it up and make it not so stale. Some of the recoil in the past is a little hard to work with, but I'm a heavy gunner myself, usually LMGs or snipers, so that does affect my gameplay quite a bit.
Sure.
But I'm looking to the future for Stadium, and I think Stadium might be really interesting and maybe more illuminating to see, because the Stadium was part of the original offering. I believe that was Hourglass that had, it was originally one of 2 or 3 maps that the game launched with, and it's since been reworked, and that Stadium has been taken out. It's now being put as its own map, and I think that might be really interesting to see kind of the differences when that does arrive.
Scott, as any new season comes around, of course, there is a battle pass. I checked it out, and for the most part, dude, I think it looks cool. The cosmetics fit the theme of the game. I think that's something I appreciate when you get into a battle pass doesn't match what you're playing with, right? Instead of getting into some of these other quirky things and getting cat ears or something along that line where you just don't really go, this doesn't feel like it belongs here, right? So it's nice to see some of that come over, and of course, yeah, there's multiple ways to purchase the battle pass. It's completely up to you. Free items, premium items, it's all there. So, but I felt, all right, cool. The designs mean something, right? I think that's the biggest takeaway for me. I love the battle pass as long as it's meaningful. I think that was the other thing. And then lastly, too, they have a couple other events coming during later on in the season that we didn't get to take a look at, but it's just more content that they have planned for Season 7. Which, again, dude, from where Battlefield 2042 started to where we are now in Season 7, is very cool to see the transformation come around and pick back up, and then us just getting to focus on Haven, the one map only, allowed us to dive in there and just get a feel for the map. How does it look? How does it feel? How does it play? And overall, man, I'm rather impressed. I'm definitely looking to jump back in, especially when we get everybody else in there and form up as a team. Dude, this can be a ton of fun. I had a great time.
My overall takeaway from this is that Battlefield is still alive and healthy, believe it or not.
Yep.
There was a lot of worry and a lot of good reason to worry when the game launched, but here we are at Season 7. A lot of people would have said Season 7 wouldn't have happened, but here we are and the game is still improving. These new events coming down the line are showing that this game is still going to be live and tended to, updated quite frequently, so I'm really happy with where Battlefield has finally landed.
He's coming back. Oh, here comes another one. Whoa, I almost fell. All right, not cool. I'm out of here.